Hi everybody, I'm Hayley.
And I'm Kayli.
And today we're reviewing the Oscars that happened 2 months ago.
But also, again, after we said last year we would never do this again.
We did.
But yeah, that was our ranking
Top 10
of the 10 nominees for Best Picture. We will not be doing this again next year.
Nope, unless the movies are overwhelmingly
Unless we've already watched
fantastic.
the movies.
Yeah.
Then maybe. But I can't imagine us sitting through another 10.
I just maybe am not an Oscar girl, an Oscar movie girl.
Maybe I just like trash. Maybe that's me.
Maybe that's us.
But yes, why are we back here again?
I don't know. I guess we were curious. We can't get away from cinema.
And also, we had already watched The Substance and Anora and a few others sprinkled through that I was like, I've already watched 5. You've already watched some.
Finished the others, so we
Right.
did.
And we're going to do it similarly to last time.
Yeah. We're going to rank them again.
Yep.
So, but this time I say, because I have my ranking and I think I have what the Oscar ranking should be. And those are two different things. And maybe they're not. Is that dumb?
I like the idea.
Did you come up with 2 lists?
No.
Okay. Do you have one list at least?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's just do their lists. The list?
The list.
The list. We have one.
Our ranking.
Of our ranking of like the ones that we enjoyed the most. So do we want to do like we did last year and go from least to greatest? And we're going to say it at the same time and see what it is?
I like that.
Okay, great. Let me get my list.
Oh, true.
Because I don't remember. And honestly, this was a kind of hard list. I feel like, let me look at it real quick. Because sometimes I have to look at it again. Because some of these were very much so in the same category for me. And so they are just kind of like, they could be switched around. So I could be convinced on probably some of these. All right. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the same last one.
I don't know. Because I think.
Don't say nothing.
I know what your last one's going to be.
Oh, okay. Are you ready?
Yep. 3, 2, 1. Emilia
complete
Perez.
unknown.
Yep. I knew that was going to be your last one.
I'm so sorry to the folklore community.
They need to apologize to me.
This ain't it. I'm so sorry. The most boring movie. I could not. It was just.
Yeah.
There wasn't really. Was there a plot?
It was Bob Dylan. That was the plot.
Okay. Because it felt like there wasn't
Bob.
much of a plot. He just kind of went here and there. He's a good guy. He talked like this. Yeah. His nails were disgusting. He creeped me out. So if that's what they wanted me to get, I was getting it. You see his nails? I paused it at one point and he was holding on to something and his nail was long and dirt was all up on it. And
I don't know how I missed it. I didn't see it.
The details. So like, A for that.
If we could say anything, Timmy is a method actor.
Listen, Mr. Timmy. I guess good job. I don't know Mr. Bob Dylan himself, but you were irritating me.
Oh.
So I feel like if they're trying to make this man look irritating and like kind of weird, 10 out of 10, I guess. But yeah, I just thought it was boring. Wasn't really sure what the plot was. I felt like they were trying to force stuff like with the girls and with the end when he was trying to play more rock and roll.
The
and
end was so weird.
Just where are we going with it? What movie is this?
They had like such high stakes for something that I was like, but what? Why? I was confused. Like I wasn't. I was lost.
No, they were like, we need to play that good classical folklore, and I'm like, is rock not a step above
also,
this?
It's just folk music. You keep saying folklore.
Y'all know what I mean. They could dance now. Is that racist? Are we getting in that? Anyways, but I feel like if you're somebody who really loves Bob Dylan,
right,
really enjoys folk music,
right,
then this could be a movie for you. But I just thought it was really slow, didn't see a plot, and I just did not care enough about the characters. Like I feel like Bob Dylan's character, he just came out the gate really good. He just stayed really good, and that was just it. Like usually artists, you see the come up.
Right.
There was no come up.
It felt like there was no struggle at all.
No, it's just him. He played some guitar, played some songs. They were like, who's this guy? He's great. Let's put him in everything. Yeah. And he was talking down to the other girl, talking about, you try too hard to write your lyrics. Anyway, down. And he's on stage. Yeah. Everybody loves him. He's famous like the next day. People are screaming.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm done. So I just, not for me. But anyway, Emilia Perez.
Yeah. You knew that was going to be mine?
Well, it's not my worst because at least that was entertaining. I can't put this one was at the very bottom because I couldn't even. It was hard for me to even keep watching. Emilia Perez was messy, and I like tea.
It was messy in the worst way for me personally,
but I still liked it because I'm like, you know what? I will say it had a different plot.
It did.
I've never seen anything like that before,
and I kind of wish I never did.
But did this need to be an Oscar movie?
Did it need to be a musical is another question. Because the musical numbers were horrendous. I also, just to back up a little bit, the director, I don't know if you heard what he said. He's French, by the way. And this is a Spanish movie supposed to be taking place in Mexico, but most of it was not even filmed in Mexico. So, interesting. But he said, Spanish is a language of modest countries, of developing countries, of the poor and migrants. That is what the director said about...
So, he's seen like one movie about the cartel and said, there goes the entirety of South America.
That's what Spanish is.
That's what it is.
That's what the language of Spanish is.
That's even with the language. Not that it came from Spain. Not that it's in a ton of countries and not every country is. Okay. So
Emilia Perez has like a lot of backlash with like the actors, with, the director and what they decided to do with the movie. Like a lot of people, Tristan, my fiance is Mexican American, and he was like, this is giving like, you don't know Mexico. Okay. So, and then for the storyline to go the way that it did, I think the first plot was intriguing. Everything else that happened after
the transition.
Yeah, it was like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, the second half was like, why is she here? She just wants you to be her personal assistant. My favorite scene is the one where she was like, with the gun in the glass. She said,
I was like,
get your corny ass.
I don't like the fact that was her flirting. I would be a little scared. I'd
be like, not you slinging this gun around, talking about after she just came in.
Talking about how she's been abused.
She's been abused, and she had to come in to identify her ex-husband.
Yep.
Well,
she was hoping that man was dead.
She was. Clearly she must be traumatized. There's a lot going on. Your thought is you gonna wink, wink, flash a gun? But you know what? I guess it was throbbing because she came back.
Throbbing is crazy to say.
It was throbbing something ghastly. Okay, I'm sorry. They was in love. I said, all right. Period.
Yeah. It was just the movie itself was a mess. I really don't understand why it was a musical. Like, even if we're not even talking about how the songs were sung, because
we won't even discuss the song.
It was
I'm
rough.
Sorry, the one at the doctor's. I don't think I can say all that here, but
exactly.
I was like, this sounds like something I would have done singing in the kitchen being stupid.
That's
Somebody
what most
this.
of these songs
was
sounded
composed.
like.
Yeah, it just did not need to be musical. It didn't give musical. The songs, and I just feel like the people singing aren't Broadway artists. Like if I'm gonna hear a musical, I need to hear vocals.
But it's not giving Wicked the
no. When you have like actors and actresses, that they don't normally sing, so I'm not putting that on them, but it's like I feel like there has to be so much talent out there that you can find somebody who can act and sing. But they want the big names. So I just felt like in addition to the songs not being very good, the vocals really weren't there either. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
You don't have a good song and you don't have somebody who can sing with range.
Then what's the point?
Why do we even have a musical?
Because it didn't need to be one, bro. It didn't.
No, it didn't.
Just have them talk.
When it first happened, I didn't know what was going on. I literally was like, "What's she doing? Who's she talking to?" Oh, this is fake. This is not fake, but this isn't musical land,
right?
Anyway, so
it was weird, and I think they really wanted to talk about cartels and how like people go missing, and that, which was like a very interesting point in the movie, but also felt out of place.
Yes, it felt like they were trying to bring in moments of like sincerity and this is very sad and devastating to these families, which of course yes, but it did feel like in this
period,
it did feel like in this movie it was out of place, because it just felt very flat, because like the main character, what was her name?
Emilia Perez.
Yeah. Right. Miss Amelia, like she clearly does she care about the people who lost their families? Like it seemed like she was trying to care at the end.
I know.
But her character felt so shallow. I'm like, why are we trying to act like we're sad here? Like none of the characters are really worried about.
Because like I think there was like a moment, I guess like that was supposed to be her repenting for her past sins of being a cartel leader.
Okay.
But like also I never saw her do that.
Right. You know that's why it felt very like they're trying to force it, but y'all didn't give us enough character development for me to care about what y'all were trying to do here. So it felt like definitely somebody saw one cartel movie, said I like that.
No, they heard there were cartels in Mexico and they said, period. We'll run with that.
That's what they do. The language of Spanish is just cartels. Right. Like, what? Shut up. Anyway.
Disrespectful. The whole thing is disrespectful. That's why it's number 10 for me.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I have 2 lists here. So I'm going to say that. So on my Oscars list, like what I think Oscars should have done, Amelia Perez is at the bottom. I don't even think this should have been nominated. I don't even know why it was here. Somebody knew somebody knew somebody knew somebody. Like
too many people. Yeah.
I saw this on Netflix. This is something you watch on a Sunday. It's raining and you need laundry done, and this shit's on the background, and you're like, entertaining enough.
Right.
This to me would never cross my mind that it would be Oscar nominated or worthy. I am floored. The fact that it won over Wicked sends me into orbit. I cannot. Anyway, so I don't, in terms of entertainment, in terms of my attention span, in terms of what I it's not last, but I respect the fact that it should be last. So I don't disagree with you.
Thank you.
Right. We ready to move on?
Number 9.
Numero nuevo.
Oh my God.
In honor. Okay. So, all right, ready?
3, 2, 1.
Amelia Perez. Okay. Yeah. We're the same here pretty much. Yeah. I understand exactly why it was last for you.
Yeah.
It should be last.
But you were entertained more than a complete unknown.
Yeah, I think I went off entertainment value and my attention span just for my personal list.
Yeah. I don't know if I said too much about it, but with a complete unknown, I don't watch biopics. They're not my thing. I don't gravitate towards those.
Right, me neither.
And so this is like my first time really watching one, and I didn't get anything from Bob. Like, I feel like I don't know who Bob Dylan is as a person.
I didn't learn much other than he seems kind of like an ass.
Right. And
but he's really good at music.
That's how he wanted to be portrayed. Interesting. And I also don't like Bob Dylan's music. So it was a lose-lose.
Yeah, it doesn't, it's not my type of music, but I respect it. He is the only artist that won the Pulitzer Prize, the Nobel.
Something.
One of them. One of the.
Whatever fun fact they put at the end.
Right. They made a note. He didn't even show up. I'm like,
wow.
Period.
He's a rebel.
Great.
It was giving, I did think it was interesting that this movie and another movie on the list took place at the same time, but in two different states, and following Black people and following white people. And like they were talking about similar things, like with the civil rights movement.
Right. They had little sprinkles of that in there.
But that's what that was. It was little sprinkles.
Yeah, we didn't go anywhere with that.
Nothing.
I get it. It's relevant because it's for the time, but
yeah, it was like,
I felt like they were trying to do something with it in the beginning.
And
we didn't go anywhere.
Especially the other guy who sings the guy who put on the festival. I forgot his name.
I don't know.
The guy from Fight Club, but okay.
Yes.
That man. I feel like his story might be more interesting because it seemed like he took an active role in other people's lives.
Right.
And with Bob, it was very much centered around Bob.
He was very selfish.
So for us to have the backdrop of the civil rights movement and him like making songs about how like, oh, blah, 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 it felt whitewashed. It felt like white people who were not really being affected by it. Right. Giving their opinion, and I didn't really love that.
Yeah,
sorry. So is that all you had to say about Amelia Perez, or did you want to?
I already said it.
Okay,
I feel like I said it when you said it. So yes.
What's your Oscars number 9?
Okay. A complete unknown.
Oh
no, we're the same right now. Okay, number 8. Now this one. This is where this is my personal list.
Don't come for me.
Don't come. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
The Brutalist.
I'm still here.
Oh. Interesting.
Yes. I just think I'm saying this is my personal. So my personal list goes off entertainment, my attention span, storyline, acting, and then we get into all the other stuff. But I do factor those in. So for this one, I thought this was a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a bad movie.
Yep.
I think, but when I started comparing to the other ones on the list,
what was more enjoyable?
It just wasn't up there.
Yeah.
But I liked the story. I thought the acting was really great.
I agree.
She did great, the mom. And it was a story I didn't know before because I looked it up. I was like, is this a real story? It is a real story. I did like it. Was a little long for me, which I will say most of the movies on this list are long. I don't know if this is just what I have to put up with, which is these 2-hour+ movies, but I will say I did not like it. I liked it.
You did enjoy it.
Right.
But compared to the others on the list.
Correct. And I'll go over my Oscars list, which is different from this list. So,
okay.
Kayli, yes.
The Brutalist. I actually didn't hate this movie, which is surprising because I was nervous about watching it, and it was my last one to watch because it was 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Right.
I will say I never felt the length of it. However, I also did split it up over the course of 2 days. Okay. So
I will say I watched it straight through.
Oh, you did?
And I will say it is long, but I do agree it didn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
compared to other movies that have been 3 hours. Like,
Yes.
I did notice it was 3 hours, but it didn't bother me so much. I think this one would have been a really good limited series. They could have broke this one up, and I think that they needed to add more, which I'll discuss
when you get to your
when I get to
ranking.
mine. But I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it is a bad film. I did not enjoy the story. So I understand the importance of this story, where it's about people coming from a place that they called home, getting booted out of there, trying to find a safety and find their American dream in America just to be shitted on. It's awful. It's a terrible realization that the American dream isn't real. And so I do appreciate it for what it did there. And I understand like the concepts of like them trying to reclaim their bodies after all of the horrors that they've been through, with that last sex scene between him and his wife.
Right, on the drugs.
Yeah.
I
was very stressed throughout the whole movie. It wasn't an enjoyable experience for me, which is why it's lower. And I think maybe without the essay scene, I could have like bumped it up a little bit higher, but overall it just wasn't like, I just didn't really enjoy the journey.
Yeah, I see.
Also, the building, ugly.
She's a good container. Thought it was ugly.
Okay, so like
I thought it was, and it's brutalist. That's the whole point. It's a brutalist style.
And then like when she talked about it at the end, where it was like talking about the camp that him and his wife were at, and how like I understood it more when it was like that, but when it was being built, I was like, this thing kind of ugly. I don't like it.
I mean, it's definitely,
it made me feel uncomfortable.
Not the community center. Like, it definitely looked like a museum piece, but for the community center, it was a little. But you know what? He said, y'all can experience what I did.
Which I can understand now more. I also think it's very interesting that this movie is coming out now because of everything that's going on in Israel and Palestine.
Right, I thought about that.
And then like they're talking about how Israel came to be and how like now they want to go home, and it's a very touchy subject right now because of what's going on over there.
Right.
So I was like, this is interesting that this is coming out, and it's like in the perspective of Jewish people who were exiled from their country,
right,
trying to figure out where to go from here. So it was interesting, not fun. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay. So my Oscar list, I put next for number 8, right? Anora.
Period.
But I'll get to that when I actually get to that. So, but that's where I thought that should land. So, okay. So number 7.
Yep.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
The
Anora.
Brutalist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I was like, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I think it is a very well done movie.
For
I
sure.
think that I looked a couple stuff after. I'm always looking like analysis, whatever I'm saying, afterwards, just to see what other people have to say about it. But I think overall it was a beautifully shot. I think it was really well acted. It was definitely a unique twist, but perspective. You have the American dream, the artist, that thing going on, and then you also have like the trauma and what it means to be an immigrant in America and what it means to have those hardships when people just don't want you here, you know, this and that. Like, it was just all very interesting. So I do recognize it was a good movie. I think that just not necessarily for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, in terms of like, you know, entertainment, you know, I'm not trying to say, I feel like I'm so shallow, but you know what I mean? Like,
this my list.
It was, and it was right. And it was a hard watch, you know, it was very, I feel like sometimes with the Oscars, we get a lot of trauma. And so I start to get a little, I don't want to say annoyed, but I do start to get a little bit, I don't say exhausted or just kind of tired of just this constant, it's just this struggle. Anyway, but it was a little bit long. I think this would have been maybe really good as a limited series, because one of the reviews that I was reading into it is they thought it was a good movie up to the end. A lot of people did not like this ending. The jump.
Yeah, in the future, and he's old.
Like 25 years later.
Also, I was confused because they used the same actress for like his niece the entire time, and then now she was the daughter. I was like, who is this woman?
I did a double take too, but yeah, so they did that. But a lot of people didn't like how, because at the very end, the niece says, "Don't listen to the others. It's about the destination, not the journey." Which I agree with, low-key, because the journey's not.
The journey sucks.
It's tough. But the article that I was reading, what is it so I can shout them out? The Brutalist movie ending, how the Oscar frontrunner falls apart. In this article, they basically say, towards the end, by saying that it's about the destination, not the journey, they felt like we never got to see him at his destination.
True.
which would be the height of his architectural career. We never saw him move back to Jerusalem. We never saw him at the height of everything. We literally skipped that entire part and then jumped to the end when he's older, can't even speak for himself. So they kind of felt like the ending was such a dud because we just skip everything, skip the part. We went on this entire journey with this man.
Yeah.
Only to then not get to see him in his prime in that destination that he got to. We just hear about it, see it, and then the movie ends. And I was like, that makes so much sense. We were just drugged through the entire journey.
Literally.
Did not get to reap any benefits of his destination where he finally got his accolades. He's building buildings. He has a whole museum or a whole exhibit for him. Mm-hmm. And we don't even get to see him happy or satisfied if that's what he was at the end. So I think a lot of people did not like the ending because it just felt very contradicting in a way. So I could kind of see that. And then people just felt like the ending was just very abrupt and odd.
It was
like
abrupt,
an odd jump
for sure. But I wonder if that was like the point, like we never got to see him. So it makes it like even more brutal.
So like, hey, it is about the destination, but you'll never see it.
Right. So hopefully he had a good time there because you'll never know.
Right.
XOXO.
Gossip. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's move along.
Mine was Honora.
To yours.
Yeah.
Oh, Honora.
We talked about Honora before, so I won't get into it.
Okay.
I did not like this movie, but it was way more entertaining than the bottom three.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I would watch it again if I had a choice, like if I had to pick one of those. But if you want more thoughts, I don't get the hype. I really don't understand why it won. I don't think the main actress did a bad job. I think she did a great job. The movie was just boring.
It was not. It was like it
flat.
Could have been.
Yeah.
But it was a little too surface level for me. Like
everything was, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I felt like people were like, "Oh, this is really getting into the psyche. Like she's a sex worker, this and that." And I'm like, I see what you're trying to say, but I feel like we actually didn't go deep enough.
Yeah, because we got glimpses,
right? But it wasn't that like we got a glimpse at the end. Mm-hmm. But even the end irritated me because I felt like everybody was like rah 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 for. What's his name? Igor. Mm-hmm. But I have issues with Igor's character. I feel like he's actually just kind of another one of those men. Like, he's the only one who doesn't try to do anything with her, but he does. But he doesn't try, you know. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but do I think he's still a guy who thought she was attractive?
And took advantage of the moment? Yeah.
And still took advantage of a moment where she's clearly not
going through it.
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I think that was and maybe that's the point they're making, and everybody else is just making assumptions that he's just the good guy. Mm-hmm. But I just wasn't sure where we went. I don't think we went deep enough. It fell flat for me, unfortunately. But yes, I see what you're saying.
That movie was, anyways.
Right, moving on. Okay.
Next.
Did I say the Oscars version of that?
You did not.
Oh, I did. That was
Honora was number 8.
1, 2, 3.
Counting backwards is crazy.
1, so yeah, 10.
10, 9, 8. Okay. 7 was Honora for me, yeah.
So for my
number 7.
Oscar number 7, I put Dune.
Oh.
Part 2.
Yeah, I could see
in terms of Oscar
towards the bottom,
right?
Yeah,
but we'll get to that. Okay, anyway. All right, so we're doing number 6.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Wait, 10, 9, 8.
Told you.
Woo! Okay, ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1. The
Nickel
Conclave.
Boys. Oh, I don't think we're ever gonna match.
We're never gonna match.
No.
So. I liked the movie. I just thought it was boring.
Oh,
like there was tea,
yeah,
but not. It wasn't. It was just the end. And the ending with the twist that felt so forced to me.
Oh, really?
Like I felt like it was a good twist, but I felt like it was just like we got another one. Oh, we got another secret. Oh, of course, this is the bit. And I knew that something was going to happen with this character.
Yeah.
So it didn't take me by surprise. I wasn't shook he won. I really wasn't surprised. But then they came out with that. And then, I mean, I guess that's definitely like, because to me, I'm like, yeah, no, period. But for the church, it's very, very serious. So I get how obviously that would be kind of an issue.
Right.
But it just felt like, I felt like they definitely were giving a lot of political point of views in here. Which I didn't mind, but I do feel like it was kind of in my face so much that I noticed that that's what they were doing. And so I kind of was like, not that I don't agree, but you know what I mean? When I feel like somebody's trying to like do something too much, it kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought it was really well acted. I thought it was different. I feel like I learned a lot. I don't know how accurate this is.
I don't think it is at all.
But that's crazy.
But yeah, there's like one guy on Twitter, that one guy, he's actually a bishop, and he's like apparently the most followed like Catholic person.
Okay. Outside of the Pope.
Right.
Okay.
And he was talking about how like you don't want to come, like don't watch this movie, run away from it. It's literally trying to be woke. They're literally trying to talk about diversity, inclusion. Blah,
I know
blah.
people are going to be mad at this because I was like, you can definitely tell that they're leaning one way, and me, I'm like, yeah, period. But I felt like it was very heavy-handed. Like it wasn't subtle at all. But they don't have to be. It's their movie. They can do what they want.
Yeah.
And that's so stressful. Like not you choosing a pope and you'll have to like pick one of the guys that's here.
But then they also have to like do it in like a time span where it's like, well, we don't want to look like we're not agreeing because we don't want like the people in outside.
They're kind of rushing it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to vote for people and then not vote for people. And I don't want to be pope, but everybody wants to be pope. But I really don't want to be pope. Do you think the main character wanted to be pope? Low key?
I think maybe a little bit.
I think he did a little bit.
But
too.
also, like, I thought it was interesting how he was low-key trying to leave the church. He's like, I don't even know how I feel about God anymore. I was like, ooh.
He said, and that's why we need you here.
That's what everybody was saying. He was like, guys, I was literally trying to leave. Then the Pope died.
Right. I thought they were going to say that man killed him. What's his name? Trudeau?
Yeah.
Trudeau? I thought that was going to be a murder. I was like, oh, it's a whodunit. No, it wasn't.
It low-key was, though. I feel like he might have murdered him.
I think he did. He said, can you step down? He said, I'll step down. All right.
Yep.
On your neck.
That should have been the twist.
But I mean, I thought it was good in general, but his speech went off.
Yeah.
Whenever the main character gave his speech and he said, you know what? All this is doubt. If you say you know and you're certain, no, you don't. I said, honestly, we don't know what's going on here.
Yeah. I feel like when it came out too was a very important time too, because it was during our political election. So I feel like a lot of that conversation was also a part of it too. So pretty interesting. But yeah, Voldemort went off. He who must not be named.
Stop it,
was
girl.
named.
Is that him?
Yeah. A legend. I know.
Wow, he did good.
Mine was Nickel Boys. Nickel Boys is an interesting movie. It's also based off of a book, which is like a Pulitzer Prize winner. And I was like, oh, interesting.
I feel like I've heard, now when I read that it was a book, I was like, I feel like I've seen this before.
Or seen the book.
I feel like, because when was it written? Do you know?
No. 2019.
That was when it was written? So I've never heard of this. I lied.
Okay. Oh, you were talking about in school?
I thought maybe it was, now I think there have been other books similar to like talking about these schools and stuff, but so it could be that. But anyways, continue.
It was based off of a real school in Florida that ran for 111 years. It shut down when we were in high school.
I feel like I remember hearing about this on the news. Like they were talking about, because I remember when the bodies were found and they were like pulling bodies and they were discovering that the boys that had run away were killed. Yeah. Insane. I'm surprised. Yeah, it took this long for a movie to come out. Well, I guess it's not that long.
No.
10 years?
Yeah.
Well,
how old are we?
Girl, I'm not doing the math.
Yeah. So I was nervous about watching this movie because we've talked about it before. Personally, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but Black trauma is not something I really seek out when it comes to watching movies. And so I was nervous when I saw that this took place in Jim Crow South. I was like, oh, and we're following Black boys. I was like, oh.
It's so stressful. I was stressed the whole time.
The entire time, bro. But I will say, and I read like an interview with the director, that they were not trying to hone in on the Black trauma. And I feel like when it comes to depicting life for Black people in the civil rights movement era, this wasn't as traumatic as it could have been. It didn't depict.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the experience of watching it, obviously. Like, you know, like I feel like in movies where it's talking about Black trauma, we see every single item that happens, every single thing that happens.
Right.
But in this one,
very graphic.
It was more alluded to, like especially with like one of the kids who ends up going missing. We know
I was so glad they didn't. I was so oh my God, my heart was breaking. I was like, please don't show anything.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
And we didn't. We did see them like getting punished at one point, and that was like kind of the extent of it. Even like the slur usage wasn't like as heavy as it could have been. So that's where I will give the props to this movie. And I also think it was interesting watching this and A Complete Unknown, like very back to back-ish for me, because it's like the same time period, but just completely different experiences. Right. And like you can see the connection that Elwood made with MLK to the point where he thought a cutout was him. And he was like, oh, bitch, it's my time.
Why did that break my heart?
I kind of laughed.
Crying. No, I was like, he is so excited. He saw a cardboard, and the first thing he did was race because, I'm sorry, that broke my heart.
Yeah.
He is so eager. He's like in his bad place, and he thought that he was going to talk to somebody and get some. Don't fucking laugh, bro. That was
I did
sad
laugh.
as hell.
I laughed when Turner was like, you thought that he would be here at the supermarket? I was like, I know.
No, but that's what made it so sad is because he was so excited that he thought he would be here.
It didn't hit me like that. What was your Oscar pick for number 6?
All right, let's count back. I put The Substance.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which I'm very surprised is even on this list.
Yes.
As a horror movie, interesting.
I did enjoy, like, I do think that it has its place, but I kind of was a little surprised too. Not like Amelia Perez surprised, but
Right.
Any
Hoosers, number 5.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
The
Honora.
Substance.
Okay. I just thought this one was slightly more entertaining than the other ones. It was entertaining. I think it was well acted. I said it a little bit earlier. A little bit too surface level for me. And it was a little long. There were some scenes where I was like, eh.
The whole first hour could have been cut down to 30.
Yeah, it was a bit eh. So I think this one and Conclave can probably flip-flop. But I just was like, in terms of slight more entertainment, Honora. So I threw it up higher.
My girl said titties.
Sorry.
We going there. She's a simple gal.
Period. But yeah, not much to say about that. We've talked about already, and I said some stuff earlier. So, and you?
The Substance we've also talked about before. Not my favorite horror movie. Didn't really have a great time with it. It was the last 30 minutes.
Avant.
It was a lot. It was a lot going on. I feel like with the movie, there was a message of like glorifying or sexualizing women, and especially women in Hollywood. But I feel like there's a thin line of like having commentary on it and then doing that exact same thing. And I feel like the entire time we were zoomed up on Sue's ass, talking about, oh my gosh, she's so hot. At this point, we kind of just doing what you talking about is a bad thing to do. So it's not my favorite horror movie. When we talked about it before, I didn't really love it the first time. On this list, my top 5, these are movies I would recommend. So watch it.
She said it's up there.
Go ahead. But yeah, what's your number 5 for the Oscars?
For the Oscars, let's see. Conclave. But I could switch this one with the ones that are kind of in that section. But
I'm surprised Wicked is up here for both of us.
I guess we'll see.
I know.
Ready for 4?
Wicked and Dune. All right, number 4.
3, 2, 1.
Wicked. Oh, we finally did it! I'm surprised with how much I actually kind of like this movie.
It was cute. I liked it.
Yeah.
This one I felt the length a little bit. I think the last half, the ending was way better than the beginning. But I mean, I thought it was good. Like,
how familiar were you with Wicked before you saw this movie?
I've seen people review and make connections. So I didn't see it on Broadway. I've never seen anything like that, but I did have a background. So I did kind of know what was going on. Had I not already known that, I think I would have been a little confused.
Yeah, I didn't know what the story was about at all. I really only knew 2 songs, and it was the Loathing and Popular. Right. That was it. I didn't like Defying Gravity when I was growing up. Sorry. Oh. But yeah, I didn't realize that there was like a whole animal subplot.
I kind of got a little bit of that. They're talking about like animal rights when the person was doing the summary, but I kind of didn't understand that they truly meant the animal rights. But could animals always speak, or were they speaking because of magic and they started taking it away? That's what I was kind of confused about.
I think
I'm like,
they,
how do they
always were able to talk.
Okay. But then people were like,
yeah,
no.
I do like the message of, the government being shady and creating an enemy to unify the country against.
Surprise! And listen, because this was written a while ago too.
But yeah, I think that the acting in this from the main characters was a little shaky at points. And I think Ariana's singing for me did not work. Sorry. I grew up listening to the Kristen Chenoweth version of Popular and the Loathing song. It doesn't sound the same. And I was a little like, oh, like, when you're accustomed to hearing something the way that, and then there's a little riff on it and you're like, ooh, I didn't like it. I don't want to be a hater. And also seeing her man on screen scared me every time.
Stop. Let it go. She chose what she chose. He chose what he chose.
I saw this in theaters with like some coworkers, and me and this one girl, oh, you know her, Hannah.
Shout out.
We both like gasped audibly when we saw him.
Stop.
Were we dramatic? No.
I said SpongeBob. That's all I could think.
Boy. And then him like not only like groveling after Ariana the entire time, but then like leaving the girl Nesta.
Well, somebody was trying to tell me, oh, well, then he really likes Nessa. I'm like,
no.
If I ever find out that I'm some man's pity pick,
Literally.
but he loves you now,
No.
how about you kiss my ass?
Literally. I like the movie. I like what it says about like people who are different, which can look like a lot of things. It could be a race thing. It could be anything. And I feel like that's kind of what we were talking about with the animals too. Like if you're different, if you're anything that's not the norm, you will be sorted out and stomped out.
A theme of the Oscars.
Very much so. They said uprising, bitch. And they said defy.
Right. Oh, period.
Uh-huh.
Period, coach. But what I didn't get is they were honing in on her being green so bad. But I'm like, there's literally talking animals and magic.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all are worried about her skin tone. But no, I thought it was good. I do think some of the acting was a little shaky. And this is bothering me again. They always casting these old ass fucking cast members to be these young people.
Oh.
Everybody in the main cast is 30 plus.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's not old.
It's an older college.
No, it's not. To me, when you're going to have, it just happens over and over again. When you're going to have young adults, and I mean like 18, 19, 20, like young adults, I feel like it is very important to keep in that range of casting. They don't have to be 18. They can be 21. But you know what I'm saying? I feel like there was a maturity in the cast members' appearances that didn't match the characters. So to me, instead of these characters coming off as, you know, youthful and inexperienced and trying to figure it out, it came across as just immature.
Yeah.
And I know some of the characters are immature, you know, in some instances, but
Galinda.
yeah, but like in a way where it's not fitting for, there's a difference between an immature 20-year-old and the difference in between an immature 34-year-old or however old these characters are. But I think for me, and it's not a big deal, this is just something across the board that I don't really like, but it kind of threw it off for me because I think it just brings in a new context, and to me it just got a little silly sometimes. Like, and it is a cute silly movie, but it was getting a little too silly. It's like, well, now I can't take some of the stuff seriously because it's a bunch of grown-ass adults running around acting like college students, and they're not.
Right.
I get it. So I'm probably a little extra picky on that, but it does affect the way that I view the movie. But had everybody been youthful in that way, then to me, I think it would have made more sense, especially with that almost coming of age with the main character, Elphaba. Like, you can tell she's going through this coming of age transformation that I feel like is really important when you're younger, not when you're like 35.
You can always come of age.
You can, but it's not the same.
It's never too late to grow up. Please.
Please. Don't let this stop you. But yeah, it's just like, it's a different vibe.
Yeah. Anyways. Wow, look, we matched.
We did. Did I say my Oscar one?
No.
I'm still here for number 4. So, getting up there.
We're not on number 3?
Now we're on number 3. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I'm
Nickel Boys.
still here. I'm surprised you like the Nickel Boys so much.
I was going to say, I was not excited about seeing another Black trauma movie Oscar nomination. So I still stand by that. I'm not a huge fan of Black trauma. Obviously, people are going to keep making movies about these things, but
which I think it's important for us to understand the history, but I don't really love seeing, most of the time we see somebody, a Black cast, it's like, oh, sorry, it's enslaved times.
Right, it's racism. Did you want to enjoy this film? No, you can't.
Right.
It's traumatic.
It's just a lot.
Right. So I think when they're based off of true stories, I think I appreciate them more because we're telling a story. We're giving a voice to something that did happen versus kind of making stuff up that's like overly. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this after we get through the list because I think that this is a bigger conversation. But not too long, but I have a few notes. So I'm not going to hone in on the trauma right now. But I went into it. I was not very thrilled. It threw me off. I was kind of like, oh, here we go. The angles and all that stuff were kind of not irritating me, but I'm like, But I think it really grew on me as it went on. And I kind of did like the characters. And then we got Truman's, right? I thought it was Truman.
Turner.
So sorry.
Wrong.
But you got both of their perspectives. And I thought that was unique. And then then I started getting worried because I could tell the main character was trying to expose the place. And I'm like, no, don't do that. But I really thought that's why I thought it was super smart, because you get the perspectives, and most of the time you can't see the main character's faces because you are the main character. So when they're doing the flash forwards or they're doing the future scenes with Elwood, you just see the back of his head, and they gave him the locks. So you can't even see his like neck or anything. So
which is kind of interesting because like that's not how it's shown the entire time. We are the person in the past, but in the present day, we are behind
him. What does that mean? I don't know. But
not smart enough for that one.
But yeah, so you're looking in that perspective. Maybe it's because you're old. He's older now, but anyway, so it's Elwood. But then at the end, girl, I was trying. I'm sorry. I know you say this didn't affect you. I was trying not to cry. I was like, because when they were running, and I was like, oh my God, somebody's going to die. But I thought it was going to be his friend, Turner. And then the reveal is Turner took Elwood's spot. But it was so sad because Turner didn't have a family. And so it was like bittersweet, probably more bitter than sweet. But he went to go live with Elwood's grandma, and she just like kind of covered everything up because obviously he's escaped. So they can't.
Yeah.
But they won't come looking for Elwood. Right. Because Elwood
they know
is back there, and just heartbreaking. And the grandma. And then when the grandma gave Turner a hug.
Definitely.
Back in the.
Foreshadowing. She said, you gonna have to do since I can't see my Elwood. Yeah.
Girl, it was so, and then it makes Elwood Turner trying to search for the truth even more so, because you're like, he truly is living the life of his friend. Yeah. And is trying to do right. And that's crazy. I wonder
what kind of like, do you get punished for, I mean, it is stealing someone's identity.
I don't think so. Listen, there was so much injustice. Y'all owe me money.
No. Yeah.
Y'all owe reparations for that shit. No. I hope the families of those children, you got to pay them out.
What's crazy is like in real life, that real school, they publicly apologized in like 2019 to
they did.
the
Did
families.
They deny, like, because it came out in 2012, or like it was starting to gain traction. And then I remember it was like a thing, but they're not open. When did they close? No,
they closed in like 2011. No, yeah, they're open for 111 years, Hayley.
Burn it to the ground.
Yeah. But what's crazy is like in the 60s, the governor, I think it was the governor of Florida, was like, I don't know how this place is still running. Like, I'm surprised nobody has blown the whistle faster. And it still ran for another 50
That's disgusting.
years.
It's
crazy.
Gross misuse of the system. Like, horrifying. It just was, especially because I know this is a real story. I think that really hit home, that there are these boys who have just killed. Just disgusting. It was but it surprised me in making me feel emotions, and I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was. I just didn't enjoy it. That's why it's lower on my list.
That's fine. I could see that. I think I wouldn't say it was an enjoyment, but it definitely made me feel emotions, and I liked how it brought that story
to light.
Not that it wasn't already to light, but it just makes it that much more real when you can see that like there are these kids, and then they put you in that position of the kid,
which
like,
I thought
you really
was
feel like
smart.
you're at the school. So I thought that was good. So that's why it was number 3.
Yep.
But what about you?
Mine was I'm Still Here, and like you, I've never heard anything about Brazilian history. I don't like history, so I don't learn it. I cast a blind eye. So I thought it was very intriguing, and then whenever it was revealed at the end that were real people, and I was like, oh shit, that's even crazier.
Right. That you see the pictures and stuff?
Yes. I'm like, not y'all for real kidnapping folks.
That's crazy.
And disappearing them and being like, we've never seen them actually.
We never arrested them.
Right.
Where? He ran off.
Don't know.
He escaped.
Right.
He's escaping. Sorry.
The killer. But yeah, and then I read more about like the history behind it. Why are we behind it? Why is America behind this coup?
Surprise, so fucking prize.
I was like, bro, it was all because of communism. They said we don't want Brazil to fall into a communist trap.
Oh, so we sent people to be in charge?
We backed a coup that happened. So before, like when the president at the time was like running against another candidate, JFK was like funding money to the opposition like covertly so that they would win because they believed that the president, if he were to win, would make them communists.
And they don't want that.
Right. And so, and then this is the same time with our own communism scare that we were going through. And so he won. And then that's whenever they devised a coup where the military took over for 20 plus years, bro. Wow. And it's just like, so y'all had a military dictatorship instead. Y'all said communism, terrible.
We're gonna
What's
go the
better?
opposite. And then so people who are just living their lives, they're like, now we're going to backtrack. Get everybody who might have been a part of the Communist Party at some point. Because the main character, like the family.
Rubens, yeah.
His, he was like previously in the council, or what was he?
Right. So whenever the coup happened, he like left because he was supporting like more like I don't think, apparently also there's like debate on if like the communism threat was even a real thing.
Right. Because it's more of a scare than anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was more aligned with the president that ended up winning. And so whenever he got exiled or when he got couped, he left too. But when he came back, he was still helping the people who are on the other side, the rebels, and doing the letter things and making sure that they were in contact with their family. And so that's what he was doing. He wasn't doing anything else beyond just making sure families were in contact with another. Right. Which I did like the line where the guy was like talking to Eunice about like we're in a place of power. Like we have the opportunity to help people, and that's what we want to do. And even though it was dangerous for them, so I thought it was like a noble cause for them to like still stick up. And I feel like it's a very sad story. And then like at the end, 25 years later, where they finally get confirmation that he is dead. And like, she's like very happy about it because it's like, I get like the resolution to this whole issue. Like they were lying to me for 25 years that my husband wasn't even there.
And finally it's recognized. It's a whole new government.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's like bittersweet. That one was touching as well. Like this one.
It was very sad.
At the end when she had Alzheimer's and she's just staring and then her husband comes on the screen.
And like she was able to recognize that that's her man.
She was like, it just jolted her. Like her life's work was that. And when I tell you, she grabbed her kids and she said, we got to go. Like she was that bitch.
She was. And then at 48 going to law school and like actually like helping out with shit.
She is that girl. And doing all that with having 5 children. And you have to pack the home yourself. Yeah. Couldn't even get her money out because she's a woman. Like, can't even sign off. I don't even know how she got the money at the end. I mean, I know they sold the property, but I wonder if she ever got the money back from their account. Yeah. Because her husband had to sign for it. Yep. Like, sorry, he's not here. But y'all know why he's not here. We're going to starve. Right. Anyway, that was crazy.
It was
heartbreaking. It was very heartbreaking. Like I did enjoy this one.
Yeah. And then like with the reporter being like, isn't it kind of weird that we're still talking about something that happened like 20 years ago? She's like, nah, bitch. Like,
girl, that was disrespectful.
Right.
She should have jumped her.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean?
No, we're going to talk about it because they never acknowledged it.
I'm still here. Oh, we're here.
You didn't even do it on purpose.
I didn't even do it on purpose, bitch.
No, yeah.
But literally, I'm still here, bitch. But yeah, that's so
rude.
We're
still going through the consequences.
In my face, telling me you should get over it because, it's 20. Did it happen to you, bitch?
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is too, like, that I think she said it about, like, we still have to face the consequences of losing a person. Like, they took one person, but they destroyed all of our lives. And it's like, and not even taking responsibility for it. They're like, we don't even know who you're talking about. Rubens? Never heard of him. So.
Crazy.
Yep. Another time where the government was acting a fool.
Surprise. And our government, too. We can't stop doing shit.
Oh. Numero dos. What's left for you? I have Conclave and Dune 2. You have Dune 2. What's the last one for you?
You're going to be sick. Ready?
I
might, now that we talk.
What's your number 3 for the Oscars?
Wicked.
Why so high?
I don't know. That's why I'm like, these might change because after I talk about it with you, now I'm like, Anyway, we'll move on. This is not a concrete list.
Everything's fluid.
Everything is.
Number dos.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. The
Dune
substance.
2. Oh.
And I want to change that one now.
Oh. What do you want to change it to?
I don't know. Well, this is just my first thought, so I'll just go off that.
Yeah.
I thought this is probably more an entertainment level.
That movie was, out of all these, very entertaining.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
It was too damn long, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was a unique spin. I think very relevant to today, if you will, because obviously I think a lot of women, especially in Hollywood, feel that pressure of like staying young and doing God knows what to look young still. And I hate that, especially in Western cultures, we look down on aging.
Right.
Like as you
When
get
it's
older,
really
you're
a
just
privilege.
old and dumb.
Yeah.
Such a privilege, because the opposite of aging is
Death.
right. So it's like you can't get old. Like then okay.
Yeah.
But in other cultures, like they revere the elderly. Like you're wise, you have wisdom. They look up to them. It's respect value. But here,
They said,
it's
ew.
like a joke. Like
Yeah.
you're just old. Like, you're old. You look old. Especially for women. Women get crucified
Yeah.
for shit all the time. You will see a woman on, like, we were talking about this earlier on TikTok. Women will say, oh, how old do I look? Or I'm this age. But people, and people will tear their appearance up so bad. And it's so disrespectful. Like, it's sad. And it gets scared.
is.
Like, you have the girls scared to turn 30. What the girls are scared to
The
turn
girls
30.
are here looking in the camera.
Anyway, so maybe it was touching me, this movie. But it was a while ago that I watched this one. So
Yeah.
I think I could switch these around. What about, okay, you said yours was?
Dune.
Okay, yeah, no.
Part deux. That was French.
Yes.
Anyways, I like Dune. It's a good time. I like this movie more than the first one. The first one does feel like it's building up to something.
Right.
And then Dune 2, we're getting something. But now we're like, oh shit, we about to go somewhere. But I mean, like, listen, I like the messaging. Religion, crazy. What y'all doing out there? Kind of crazy.
Wow.
But I do think that it's an interesting way of talking about a messiah or somebody who's here to save somebody. And like, he's not stepping into this role, but then is he? He said, actually, I do lead the way, bitch.
Right.
And your grandmama said, and I was like, damn, my boy was
He
over
said,
here.
silence. I was like, period poo.
Yeah.
Tell him.
This is the Timothée Chalamet I needed from.
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, the one in A Complete Unknown, that's Timmy. In this movie, this Timothée.
Timothée.
I liked it. It was really
Okay.
good. I had a great time. Number
Next.
one.
What did I put for Oscars?
Oh, yeah. What was your number two?
Nickel Boys.
Yeah, I could see that.
But
Numero
who knows?
uno.
3, 2, 1.
Conclave.
You did like this one.
I loved Conclave. And I was nervous about watching it because I watched it with like my entire family. And it is a long movie. And it's all talking. We just talked the entire time.
A lot of dialogue.
But somebody in like a Letterboxd review was like, this reminds me of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I was like, you're so right.
The voting, the mess, the drama.
All of it. I was like,
tea.
yes. I really was intrigued the entire time. Like, even with the slow build, everything else was unfolding. I was like, oh my God, these people are terrible. We don't need a pope.
Right.
Pick someone outside.
Ban the Pope. Get rid of the Catholicy.
I guess so. The Catholicy, exactly.
Catholicy.
But I do, like, obviously Dune and Conclave are very similar in nature when it comes to like religion and what this looks like and the control
chosen one.
and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I do like having a discussion of somebody who is in a religious job but isn't feeling super religious, which is our main character, where he's like, I don't really know how I feel about this anymore. And now he's like rushed into doing something that he probably would have quit if he could. But yeah, I had a good time. Conclave, you did that for me.
Period.
Tell us about Dune 2, girl.
Oh, I just love Dune. I'm sorry. This was phenomenal. I held off watching Dune because I heard from somebody it wasn't good and I didn't know what it was about. And I just didn't watch it.
Look, the trailers don't do anything.
No, I said this looked like some
This
kind of
looked
whack
dusty.
ass sci-fi,
Yeah.
boring, stupid.
Yep, I agree.
Watched it, floored.
Not floored.
I love Dune. I love
Glued.
Dune. I love Dune 2. I think
Which one do you like better?
Probably Dune 2. But in a way where it's not like like shitting on Dune 1. It does what it's supposed to do in that it's building and we're continuing.
Yeah,
So if
I
Dune
agree.
3 is trash, I'm going to be pissed.
Yep.
But I really like it. I love the underlying questions that it brings. Like, is this the chosen one or was this the chosen one? You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
You need to be silenced.
because it's the whole thing of,
Yeah.
you have the the cult of women who have their
Who running
powers
shit.
and their influence, because they're literally in every single facet of the world trying to conjure up what they believe to be their messiah so they can have ultimate control. But the one that goes rogue and decides that her son a generation early is going to be him, but it kind of works and doesn't work. Is this his destiny? Because it kind of works out for him and everything, you know, the ending in the fight when they're like do and he gets them and they're like, oh, you sound like it, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, period. And so it was good. I just love the concept. I love the sci-fi aspect because I do love a good sci-fi. You have that. You have the different worlds. It's just a very creative way to, I think, kind of give that message. So
I agree.
I really like it. And go Timilite.
It reminded me of like the ladies who, you know, the witches or whatever. It's giving the First Omen, where they're like basically going to have the Antichrist come up so they can have their church come together.
Right.
And they're like, we can control the Antichrist. I'm like, why? What makes y'all think y'all can control this psycho man?
That literally sounds like something you couldn't control.
I'm confused.
Why would a demon want to work with y'all?
Literally.
If it's going to work out for y'all.
Right.
It's not.
Never does.
Anyway,
that's
digress.
basically what happened in Dune.
That's what happens. You know, something's going to, almost bit my tongue. Something's going to go awry. And it did. But it might have worked out. You know, like we'll see.
Is this the plan?
Dune 3.
Because it's giving it's giving Doctor Strange. Oh my God.
Right?
It's
We can't
giving
speak. It's
Doctor Strange when he's like, there is one path where things work out. I was like, okay.
There it is.
Where he's like a douche. Poor Zendaya. He said, Zendaya, I love you to the day I die. Florence Pugh, will you take my hand in marriage? I was like, ooh.
She's out. Apparently in the book, she don't care.
Oh, Zendaya doesn't?
Yeah. In the book, she's like, I get it. And she's still like with him behind the scenes.
Oh. Not the
They're still kind of like in love.
side
Yeah.
chick.
But it's because they're all convinced he's the one.
Yeah.
She's like, this is what you need to do.
Oh, is she in the
Yes,
book too?
no, in the book,
Oh,
she's
very
very much,
different.
no, she's very different in the book. They made Zendaya's character like kind of more defiant, but in the book, like the people of the planet, like they are convinced this is their, you know, this is their savior.
Yep.
So it's way different. And I don't know how I feel about that change.
I kind of like it.
I kind of don't like it.
Oh.
Because I feel like the whole point is that these people are convinced. So when you start to try to add characters that are like, it kind of defeats that purpose of like that cult mentality of when you've convinced everybody something. Like even the woman he loves and the woman who loves him, she is in it too. Like to me, that's more powerful than that. You know what I'm saying? It
I see
makes
what you
more
mean.
of that point.
It
They are
does.
so convinced by
That
this.
this
They
is-
believe he is their savior so much that he's going to save them and save their spice. That even his woman is like, I'm willing to sit here by your side still, be in your life, help you. You
Yeah.
can marry this girl. It's what we need to do. Like that, it takes away
It's
that
a part
from
of the
me.
plan.
It's a
Yep.
part of that whole thing. So when you start making a character, it's like, no, it's not right. It feels a little too cheesy. It feels a little too movie, a little too like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I didn't really like that change in the character because I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Is show that, but
I do like it in the way that it introduces the concept to people who might not be able to have that conversation for themselves.
do
Not
you
to
mean?
say people are dumb, but sometimes you got to handhold people to the argument that you're trying to make. Like you
so
said,
she's like helping bring another perspective in.
exactly.
Okay.
Because like you said, there's some people who are like, I don't like this movie because he's like a white savior. It's like, no, mama, that's the argument.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. So I think having that opposition is needed for a movie like this to kind of carry the point along that, no, this is like what is wrong. Like what she said, like this is what's enslaving us. Like they're literally just trying to control us again. They look like the good guys, but they're just as bad as the people who were here before us.
Yeah.
Or before them.
I guess it could have just been another character.
And not his woman. Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like that
Not
being his
his
woman,
woman.
his woman, because it being her makes it powerful with the message. But I see what you're saying. It's good to still have that
Opposition.
behind it. Like,
Yep.
hey, something's not right. Even if it was a very subtle, like in another character, or you could see a few of the background characters
Yep.
kind of shifting a little bit. Like,
Which
we're
they
not messing
kind of
with that.
hinted at, but they
Right.
never really showed.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. I feel like we could have did that instead, and we
Yep.
could seen that. Now it doesn't have to be crazy.
Yeah.
Because maybe the third movie is where we start picking up a bit.
With the Holy Wars.
Right, with the Holy Wars. And now, of course, the poor people on this planet are going to be the subject to the wars, which is what happens in history all the fucking time. But anyway, so long story short, that to say, I really love the Dune series. I think
I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would.
Listen, I was shook. So
Yeah.
that's my number one. And the number one for the Oscars I chose was The Brutalist. But I might change that now that I talked about it. But I thought like Oscar wise, seems like it's
very
something
artsy,
they would pick.
fartsy,
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite,
trauma.
but I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, it definitely seemed like trauma is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Trauma or religion.
Yeah, government.
Right. Or, a little a little sing song. I did say I was going to touch on
talk about trauma.
that kind of stuff, but I think we should save that.
Oh, here.
It's running a little long, and I think that could actually be a conversation itself. But I think we can say that for another video because I think that's in more
I think that'd be interesting.
broad topics. So yeah, but that's all I got.
Very well. Will we be doing the Oscars again? I hope not.
Well, you know what? I might as well just start watching them all just in case so we can get it out.
I know.
Around
true.
Oscar season. So
That's
sorry
true.
about that. But oh well.
We weren't planning on doing it.
We weren't. But then we were like, fuck it. But I'm kind of not glad I did, but I don't know. It was better than last year.
That's what I was just about to say.
So I'll say that.
Yep.
Who won last year?
Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah.
Another 3-hour fucking monstrosity.
Right.
Anyhow, if you like 3-hour fucking monstrosities, boy, do we have the place for you. We got Instagram, Hayley and Kayli. We got TikTok, Hayley and Kayli. Hayley, what else?
Kayli, we got a YouTube channel. If you're watching us now, we're at Hayley and Kayli. Surprise, surprise. We're also, I think, on podcasts. We release anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast. So go search us up, Press Podcast. And we also have a Gmail, presspodcast@gmail.com, where you can email us all your questions, comments, concerns, recommendations. Did you agree with us? Did you not? Do you like the Oscars? Do you not? Do you think it's dumb? Because honestly, it's a political game at this point. Let us know.
What isn't?
Or let us know down below.
That's where you should actually put it. Down
Rate,
below.
comment, subscribe.
What's your ranking of the Oscars this year?
I want to know everybody else's ranking. Like, I need to know.
Yeah. Anyways, we don't know what we're going to be talking about next time.
Sure don't.
But we'll talk about it.
We might be talking about
Black people and trauma.
right.
Yay! Everyone's favorite time. But yes, thank you for joining us for the Oscars, and I hope to see you again. Bye. Goodbye.
Bye. Can you do a farewell? Can you do the Oscars music in the background?
What does it sound like?
It's probably like.
That is haunting.
All right. Well, you play what it is.
I think I'm just going to play that.